Google Drive is a great tool for collaboration, but have you ever found yourself in a situation where you shared a file or a folder with somebody and then your files are lost? So in this video, I want to show you why this happens, how you can recover your files, and what you can do to prevent this from happening in the first place. So in my example, this one here is Demo Teacher 1, and Demo Teacher 1 has shared 2 docs, these 2, and 1 folder containing 3 files with Demo Teacher 2. So when we move over to Demo Teacher 2's account, you can see that these files and this folder show up in the Shared With Me section. And if Demo Teacher 2 now decides to move these files and the folder to my drive, just to organize things a little bit better, let's see what happens to the files. So we move this one over to my drive. You can see that in the bottom left-hand corner, it says that a shortcut has been added. Same with the Google Doc. We just move this one over here, and we move the folder to my drive as well. Notice that in the corner of the file here, it adds an icon with a plus. So that indicates that it's also added as a shortcut. And now when we go to my drive, you can see that all these files and the folder have a little arrow, which indicates that those things have been added as a shortcut. If I go back to Demo Teacher 1's account, all the files are still there in the same place. Also, all the files within the folder are still there. Now let's see what happens. Let's go back here, and we go back to Demo Teacher 2. Let's see what happens when Demo Teacher 2 now decides that the files are no longer necessary, and we're just going to remove those 2 files. We remove this one, and we remove the folder. We go back to Demo Teacher 1. Files are still there, folder is still there, the files within the folder are still there too. Let's go back to Demo Teacher 2, back to the Shared With Me area. What happens now if Demo Teacher 2 decides to remove these items from the Shared With Me area? So we remove those 2 files, and we remove the files to be shared. So nothing is in the Shared With Me area. It does say in the bottom left-hand corner that 1 removed folder is still accessible by collaborators. So let's see. If I switch back to Demo Teacher 1, all my files are still there, and the folder is still there too. Now, if Demo Teacher 2 decides that the files were indeed necessary and she wants to have them back, then what can she do? She would have to go back to the email that was sent by Demo Teacher 1 if the notification was sent before. So let's go back to all mail, which I've archived. And let's say I want to restore the folder that has been shared with me. That is the files to be shared. So I click on that one, and I can see the folder again. Also, when I close this one and I go back to my original Google Drive, then the folder is back. If Demo Teacher 1 hasn't sent the notification, then the teacher would have to do that now so that Demo Teacher 2 can see the folder again in the Shared With Me area. Now what happens if Demo Teacher 2 opens the file, opens the folder, and then drags a file out of the folder into my drive? We will get a pop-up message saying that you're moving an item out of shared folder, files to be shared, so people will lose access. Okay, let's click the button anyway and see what happens. It says another doc in a folder has been moved from files to be shared to my drive. Notice that this is different. Before, it said that a shortcut had been added, but now it says that the file has been moved. This means when we switch back to Demo Teacher 1 and we open the folder, the file is gone from the folder because Demo Teacher 2 has moved the file out of the folder. What happens when Demo Teacher 2 removes a file? So we're removing the Google Doc. It says removed 1 file. 1 removed file is still accessible by collaborators. Let's move back to Demo Teacher 1. The file is gone. So you can see that when you drag top-level items from the Shared With Me area, they will be moved as a shortcut. However, when you open a folder and you're dragging files out of the folder, then this is a move and not a copy, or it's a move and not a shortcut. So you have to understand that when you drag a file out of a shared folder, then you're going to move it out for everyone. So that means whoever has access to that folder will not have access to that file anymore. So you need to understand that when you move a file or a folder from a shared folder into My Drive, this is a move and not a copy or a shortcut. So that means that the moved content is removed from the shared folder. And the result of this is that a user will no longer see the moved files or folders in the shared folder, and any permissions on the moved content that were inherited from the shared folder will be removed, and new permissions will be inherited from the destination folder. So that means if you move a shared file from one folder, then whoever has access to the original folder will not see the file anymore unless they also have access to the folder that you moved the file to. In other words, when we go back to the Shared With Me area, if you drag top-level items, as I said before, from here to My Drive, this can be done safely. Okay, so this is going to be a shortcut. But as soon as you open a folder and you drag files out, this is going to be a move. And this affects other people. That's why the pop-up message shows up. If you don't want that to happen, then you can always add a shortcut to your drive by right-clicking on the file and click on Add Shortcut to Drive. Then we decide where we want to have it. For example, in My Drive, we add shortcut, and then the shortcut is there. So you kind of have to do that manually because dragging means moving. The problem now is, where are these files that were moved or removed from this shared folder? Remember, Demo Teacher 2 has removed a file from this shared folder, and it's not in that teacher's trash because those are the shortcuts that I deleted earlier. And when I go back to Demo Teacher 1, then those files are not in the folder because they have been removed, and they're also not in Demo Teacher 1's trash. So Demo Teacher 1 is the owner of the folder, but it's not clear immediately where those files are that Demo Teacher 2 has removed. So there are three ways you can locate these files now. The first one is when you go back to My Drive as Demo Teacher 1, the owner of the original files, then you can click on the eye icon in the top right-hand corner, and then you click on Activity. And this will show all the activity that happened in Demo Teacher 1's Google Drive. And you can see that Demo Teacher 2 removed 2 items from files to be shared. Demo Teacher 2 removed Google Doc in a folder and another doc in a folder. Now Demo Teacher 1 can click on the link and open the document. So you can see the document is still there. And then once the document is open, Demo Teacher 1 can click on the move icon right here and then move it back to the shared folder, files to be shared. And it says that this item will be visible to everyone who can see files to be shared. Okay, we move it back there. Has been added to files to be shared. Good. Close the document. Let's go back to the folder, and the document is back. Also, when you check the activity now, it says that you add an item to files to be shared, another doc in a folder. I can do the same thing with Google Doc in a folder and move it back that way. But I want to show you another way, and the other way is using the search function in Google Drive. So we know, or I remember the name of my Google Doc, which is another Google Doc. Oh no, it was Google Doc, see? I didn't remember, but Google Doc is here. And I can open the file, and again, I can click on Move. That's the second way, using the search function, if you remember the name of the file. The third way is you can click Advanced Options, and you can locate them anywhere. You can search by type, you can search by owner, who it's shared with, and so on. So that's the third way. And the fourth way is all these files or shared files that were removed by somebody else are now unorganized because they have been removed from the original folder, which means they're now unorganized. So you can search for them by typing in is unorganized. And then there's my Google Doc in a folder. This is not in any of my folders, so that's why it's unorganized. And then I can drag it back to files to be shared. Again, I will get a message that asks me if I'm sure that I want to move it to the shared folder, which I am. So I move it back. And when I check now files to be shared, all my 3 files are still there. Also, when I switch back to Demo Teacher 2, go to the Shared with Me, files to be shared, and I reload this one, all 3 files are back. Remember, as I said before, I cannot stress this enough. Whatever you do with top-level items can be done safely because it doesn't affect the original owner of the file or folder. So if I remove this folder, this is a top-level item from Shared with Me. It says removed 1 folder. 1 removed folder is still accessible by collaborators. So I switch back to Demo Teacher 1, and you can see nothing has changed. The folder is still there. Another way to lose files is simply when the owner removes them, which means moves them to the trash. So again, I've shared 2 docs and 1 folder with Demo Teacher 2. They all show up in the Shared with Me area. And now if I, as the owner, go ahead and remove those, then they will be moved to the trash. It says 3 removed items are still accessible by collaborators. So let's see. So they are gone from the Shared with Me area. They are not immediately visible. If I go to the Activity tab as a collaborator and check the activity, it says that Demo Teacher 1 moved an item to the trash, another doc in a folder. So from the activity, I can still see that the file is there, but now I get the message saying that the file is in the owner's trash. And I will soon permanently lose access to the file. For continued access, please make a copy. So then I can choose if I want to share it with the same people and if I want to copy comments and suggestions. So then I can make a copy for myself, or I can go to the doc's home screen. So let's say I still need to work with this document. I can make a copy, and this one is now my file. So when I go to my drive, then this file will be there as a copy. Going back to Demo Teacher 1's account, you can see that the 3 items, the 2 files and the 1 folder, are now in the trash because I've removed them from my drive. And if I empty the trash now, it says that all files and folders in your trash are about to be permanently deleted. Warning, you can't undo this action. Okay, I'm going ahead and I empty the trash anyway. And it says, well, it did say that I cannot restore the files, but that doesn't mean that they cannot be restored at all, because your G Suite admin can still restore your files. So let's say that those files are still important. I want to have them back. I would have to talk to my G Suite admin, and then the admin would go to the admin console. He would then pull up your name, in this case, Demo Teacher 1, and click on Restore Data. And we want to restore everything from today, so 4th of July until 4th of July. And we want to restore all the data from Drive. So I could restore Drive items, or I could restore emails. I'm just going for Drive now, click on Restore, and it will take a little while, but since we haven't removed so many files before, let's check if they are there, because they should be there in the original location, which means under My Drive. And you can see that under My Drive, a lot of stuff has been restored, all the stuff that I deleted today, including the files to be shared folder. Also, another Google Doc is there, and the Google Doc is there. So just because you removed a file from the trash doesn't mean it cannot be restored. You have to know, though, that you only have 25 days to restore files from the trash. After that time, those files are going to be gone forever, and even your admin cannot restore them. If you use Google Vault, however, you may have different retention settings. You may be able to retrieve those files, but in a general setting, if you don't have Google Vault, then you have 25 days for your admin to restore the files. Now, how do you prevent files from getting lost in the first place? Of course, you could always have rules in place, or you could tell your people not to remove files from a shared folder or something like that. But those rules are getting complicated very quickly, and not everybody's going to follow those rules. And the easiest way to avoid that is by setting up a shared drive, especially when you're working in a team and you're sharing files that are relevant to all the team members or most of the team members. Then a shared drive is a really good idea. You can find shared drives right below My Drive on the left-hand side over here. And the difference between a shared drive and My Drive is that the files that are moved to a shared drive will belong to the team and not to the individual anymore, which means that if a team member leaves or is removed from a shared drive, then all the files that were contributed by that member will still be there, and the rest of the team can continue working. And another advantage of a shared drive is that you can set different access levels for different people. I'm going to show you how that works. So the first thing you do is you create a shared drive by clicking on the button. Let's just call it test for now. We create the shared drive. And the first thing you want to do is you want to add people and assign roles. So you could do that by clicking on the number of people over here. It says one person, which is me. Or I can click on the blue Manage Members button. Then I'm going to add some members, for example, Demo Teacher 2. And I could assign different roles now. I could assign the viewer role, commenter role, contributor role, which means that the teacher would be able to add and edit files. I could make this person a content manager, which means they can add, edit, move, and delete files. Or I can make this person a manager, which means they manage content, people, and settings. Now, in this case, I want Demo Teacher 2 to just contribute, but not move or delete anything. So I select Contributor. I notify the people, which means it will send an automatic email to these people, to Demo Teacher 2. I can add a message, and then it tells me that I'm going to add this person to test. Okay, send the message. And you can see now there are two people in my shared drive. So when I click on this one, there's the overview. That's me as a manager, and then Demo Teacher 2 as a contributor. Okay, so I switch over to Demo Teacher 2. They should have received an email. Let's go to the inbox. There it is. You have been added to the shared drive test. Okay, so I can open the shared drive from here, or if I'm in My Drive, I can click on Shared Drives, and I can see that test is right here. So I can drop files here or create something new. That's the same way that I always do. I create a Google Doc. So shared drive doc, just to show you how it works. Now here's the doc. And when I right click on this one, I cannot delete this file anymore. So I contributed to the shared drive. I cannot move because it says I don't have permission to do that. I cannot delete anything, so that's exactly what I want. If I switch back to Demo Teacher 1, remember Demo Teacher 1 is the manager, so this person can delete the file, and it says here it will delete the file for everyone. Because if I switch back to My Drive, you can see that there's the owner, that's me, but if I go to the shared drive, There's no owner information because all the files are owned by the team. So that's a simple way to prevent files from getting lost in the first place. Especially when you work on a very important project, you need to make sure that files will stay in place, and you want to have the same folder structure for everybody. Shared drives will save your day. Thanks for watching.